Hello, listeners. Welcome to yet another episode of the Startup Catalyst. Special mentor and guest today is Dr. Radhika Meenakshi. She's a seasoned veteran and has a lot of experience mentoring, teaching, and facilitating uh, entrepreneurship. And she's engaged with a lot of startups. So, welcome on board, Dr. Radhika. How are you doing?
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me. And it's a great day to be with you all today to discuss some things.
Pleasure. So, why don't you just get us a walkthrough on what's been your experience mentoring? Where did it all start? What interested you in entrepreneurship in the first place?
Well, to tell you the truth, I moved to entrepreneurship a little later in my life. I was a professor in finance and accounting for more than a decade before I started my PhD thesis. That's when I got into entrepreneurship in 2001. I started doing a lot of research, and the academician in me died slowly, and I got moved more into the industry. I got exposed a lot to the industry, which fascinated me, the processes, because especially my PhD was on processes, business processes. So that drew me to the industry a lot, and that's how I got into entrepreneurship. And
Oh,
further
okay.
on, I got involved while I was teaching at BITS Pilani, Goa. I
Mhm.
got introduced in 2006 to NEN, National Entrepreneurship Network, a part of Vadvani Foundation,
Right.
which started the e-cell week activities, and I got involved in the entrepreneurship activities, devising games and things for the e-day, and that really fascinated me. And from then, there's no looking back. I've slowly moved, and when I moved to Amity in Delhi, then I got exposed more to NEN. I got trained by them for master training, and Amity also helped me by allotting me the subject of entrepreneurship development for the students, business students. So that also further, uh, developed my interest in the subject, and my 10 or 12 trainings by NEN with stalwarts like Professor John Mullins, who's my mentor, and Professor Murray, Professor Stina Seelig, and of course our own great Indian stalwarts, all contributed a lot to my interest in the subject. And I underwent mentoring, how to mentor a program which was first devised by NEN, and I got accredited to be a mentor, followed by another one which I did with Bharata Yuva Shakti Trust, which is another NGO that started mentoring way back in 1992 in India. And
Mhm.
there also you need to undergo a mentoring training to become a mentor. In both places, I then became a mentor guru, where I was a master trainer. And
Mhm.
across this time period, I mentored a lot of startups, and I got to see a lot of mentoring being done. And I picked up a lot from that too. And that's where I am and how I am. And I've mentored about 22 startups, uh, you know, totally as a mentoring assignment,
Mhm.
engagement for a long period of time. I mean, when I mean a long period of time, I mean about 6 months. But what
Okay.
is the highlight I would like to add is that I was one of the pioneers in the while I was in Hyderabad. For the EME wing of the Indian Army, for the retiring Jawans, we organized an entrepreneurship and mentoring sessions. So I was
Mhm.
doing that for about on a regular basis for the Army, retiring veterans. Who wanted to get into entrepreneurship. A lot of mentoring we organized, and I was very involved in that for many years. But the real exposure of mentoring also came from Aleap, which is another exclusively women entrepreneurship, and that course very close to my heart, women entrepreneurship, where in this industrial estate exclusively for women, we were able to meet a lot of women entrepreneurs, and I got to see the special challenges that each of them face, and that was another interesting. And then I went on to become a mentor in many of the deep tech, like IIT, J-Hub, V-Hub Telangana, and so on and so forth. I got attached to quite a lot of these incubators, and that also honed my skills, and I think it added a lot of value to me personally, and my knowledge also expanded. So it's a two-way street. Not only that I was helping them, but they were also helping me to grow. Yeah.
Okay, great. No, I think that's quite a wealth of experience. And when you mention year like 2001, I'm sure some of the young and budding entrepreneurs might not have even born, right? So that's the amount of depth of experience you have. What made me interested was when you mentioned that you decided to move out of academia for a period and actually get into engaging with entrepreneurs and mentoring startups. And the question which is asked often, can entrepreneurship really be taught in a classroom, or is it strictly on the job training that will really make you an entrepreneur? So since you've been in the academia and engaged with entrepreneurship as a subject, maybe I would love to have your views in terms of what are the possibilities of learning entrepreneurship in a classroom?
I think this is a very, very common point of talk, whether entrepreneurship can be taught, whether it's in your blood, whether it has to come on its own out. But research has definitely shown that uh, learning a little bit on entrepreneurship and how to do a business definitely adds an edge to your success. Having a
Hmm.
mentor, you know, uh, 89% of entrepreneurs agree that having a mentor definitely helps.
Hmm.
So studying and uh, getting mentored I think are the two important points that will push the startup to a success.
Hmm.
Of course,
Uh,
innovative
what
product is one big thing.
hmm. What aspects are better covered by a mentor versus a classroom?
Well, a mentor actually has their experience, their wealth of experience that they share. They do quite a few things, right? Now they can actually counsel the founders on a whole lot of things, not only their business, but also, let's say, some of their personal behaviors, things like that, which can help them, give them tips, and also give them a sort of a roadmap. Now, please, the mentor cannot decide for the founder, but they can definitely show them that if you take this road, these are the pros, these are the cons, these are the options in front of you. This has been done before, and this was the consequence, and you take your decision, right? So
Hmm.
one is the wealth of knowledge that they can share, another is the counseling they can do. But the most important thing that a mentor does is networking, which they can point out. Look, you need, for example, one of my mentees was not very sure about what is cash account and all. He was an engineer and he was doing a online commerce of walnuts, right? But and then I had to tell him, no, no, you go pick up what's a cash management, understand what's a cash flow statement. So I said, just go on the net and pick it up and come back, and then we'll discuss. So when he came back, he was be able to understand what I was talking about when we were talking about cash flows, because I think one of the biggest problems for startups is cash flow management. So I think that way the mentor can help. As a teacher, I would have probably taught cash flow statement many a times in my life, but when you actually discuss a cash flow, the real-time cash flow with an entrepreneur, it's a totally different ball game altogether. But a basic knowledge of that will help us to understand and accelerate the understanding.
Hmm. The other point which I always ask mentors is, what you want to mentor, is it what the founder wants to be mentored on, or there's a mismatch?
Huh. So that's where this very valid question, Hital. But this is where I feel a third party in the relationship, like an incubator,
Hmm.
really helps, right?
Okay,
A third
very interesting.
party, when they are involved, the mentor, mentee, and I would call the third party as a facilitator who
Hmm.
organizes this mentoring program. I
Yeah.
think they play a very important role, because one, they can keep the mentoring tabs on the mentoring and fix the clarity of goals that is required, and they can match the mentor and mentee interests. because there should be two matches. One is the mentor-mentee match, and one is the venture match, right? What the goal they want, and also the venture.
Mhm.
The personality should also match. The mentor and mentee should
Yeah.
also have a connection, and the
Hmm.
mentor and the venture should also have a connection. So
Hmm.
these two can be very well clearly dealt with by the facilitator. And
Right.
once that is done, they also keep a progress, they track, they give visibility, they
Hmm.
also let us know what is the trail of the conversation that was had, the follow up, the feedback, and the metrics.
Hmm.
This is also good because for the mentor also they get a sort of a valued because they are recognized what has been their contribution, and the mentee also gets clarified what they actually want and what they actually got. So all in all, even the exit is helped by the facilitator. So yes, I think for an effective mentoring to happen, definitely a third party facilitator is very
Hmm.
very vital.
That's a very interesting point that you mentioned because sometimes I've had such huge mismatches where a potential a founder reaches out to me, and while he's seeking advice on my ability to help him find investors, I'm finding fundamental flaws in his business model. But he's not able to understand that if you don't correct those fundamental flaws in your business, there's no question of me introducing him to an investor. And they are
Exactly.
like so hungry and so impatient. They're like, oh, I have a great idea. An investor would love me, and he would shower me with thousands of rupees, which obviously
Yeah,
doesn't work that way, right?
I agree.
Uh,
I agree.
yeah. Why don't you
The
just
film.
share us? Sorry, please go ahead.
Sorry. Yeah, yeah, please.
Why don't you share a few specific examples of some of the startups that you mentored? What were they doing? What exactly was the type of business they were into? What was the kind of engagement that you had with them like?
Okay. So I'll share with you one of my favorite mentees, uh, whom her name is Sunita, and she was allotted to me as a mentee matched by BYST. Sunita comes from a very traditional family. She was running a beauty parlor in her own house, and she was actually treated like she was running, hair cutting and all. In a traditional household is not allowed in the house, strangers' hairs across the house, etc. So she was having a very tough time, and she wanted to start a business and bring it out in on the main road. She wanted to open her own beauty parlor. That was her vision. So when she came to BYST, she was given allotted to me, and we both got talking. We established with the loan that BYST helped to provide from a bank, the CGT MSME loans, about 18 lakhs, which is what we helped her get. And we were able to open a beauty parlor, Tarini, on the main road of in Hyderabad. And then one of the most important aspects that me and she discussed is cash management. Being a finance professor, that is one of my strong points, costing. So I went to look at her and helped her to, stock, arrange her stock because she was holding so much of unwanted stock. So those things I helped her with, and of course I helped her most importantly to get digital. And I think that's one of the things that the entrepreneur should really get. First thing is get digital. So
Hmm.
and we she went digital. I helped her to get on a WhatsApp group with her clients,
Huh.
and her famous product was her own concoction of a cream, face cream. And we marketed it. I helped her market it as an exclusive and make it go on pre-order basis so that she doesn't have to waste. So in all, I helped her save a lot on her working capital, and that's where I found a lot of success. Another mentee also, I've helped her more on working capital successes.
Hmm.
So that's where, of course, she did very well, and her turnover increased to 18 lakhs a year. But post that, she sold it and pushed off. They changed the city, so she closed it. But I would call it one of my successful ventures.
Hmm. So I do come across women entrepreneurs who have some of these so-called traditional businesses like running a beauty salon or running a baking house or selling apparels, which is more of a trading business. And I tell them that, look, there's a big difference between dhanda and a startup, right? What they're doing is more of a dhanda, which is a traditional business where you have
Correct.
a skill or a product that you're delivering and you make some profit on that skill compared to the amount of time that you are actually allocating. You're probably getting a value for that from a service perspective. And when it's a product, then you're adding a delta cost differential and selling it at a profit, and that's where you're making money. Now, you could survive without help from Dr. Radhika or from me. You don't need us for that traditional businesses. Where it becomes a startup and where it leapfrogs is where you bring in the digital element. And a lot of people, especially women entrepreneurs, miss out on this digital element because they're not able to get that thing about digital marketing, using social media, having increasing your followership on social media. What is your view on this? Do you think there is a significant value add if a lot of entrepreneurs simply learn digital marketing as a core skill on day zero, even before they become an entrepreneur? Or do you think that this is something which is easily outsourced and they don't need to do it themselves?
Heathel, I beg to differ. Whether you're tech, deep tech, no tech, high tech, women led, doesn't matter. Today, every business has to be digital. They have to use generative AI as a tool to help them grow. There is no two ways about it. Otherwise, you're dead. Your business is dead even before you start. This is what I keep telling everybody, that if you are not on the mobile, if your business is not on the mobile, I think your business is as good as in oblivion. Nobody would know about it.
Hmm.
So yes, to your question, yes, yes, yes. Even before you start, you have germinate an idea. You should, actually plan how do you do digital about it, how do you go, and how do you, and this helps. Of course, you're saying about outsourcing it, but I think the basic knowledge of what should go forth, the value communication should come from the founder, and the add-ons and the decorations and the consistency of the information can be outsourced to digital marketing agencies. But the basic ones that I keep telling all my entrepreneurs is make a small video and send it when just going to go for an appointment. Just send the video across, a 1 minute video, a WhatsApp video, and form your customers WhatsApp group and keep sending them. Facebook today, you can do a lot of traditional businesses, as you call it today, do a lot of online sales of saris and these things. I also had a mentee who was in tech, and she started the skilling schools, and she's one of my, I would say, famous mentees, Bala Sundari. When she started way back in 2011, she wanted to start an industrial skilling agency, and she basically, when we met, she wanted some advice on what should be the business model of how she should start, whether she should start a training, centralized training, and I was, looking, and I was advising, and I said, better than putting all your money in one egg, let's start a hub and spoke model in different places, because she was targeting the rural polytechnic students to train them and place them. Today, she's one of the leading entrepreneurs. She's won awards, and she's gone on to be mentored by many other technical mentors and so on and so forth. But what I'm trying to say is that getting digital, understanding that, there's another one of my mentees. Again, we put everything on the net. We helped her. Again, as you said, she was a cake thing. So these side of things, actually getting on an Instagram and displaying your pictures and making yourself, I mean, like you talk about an Aadhaar card for yourself, you talk about an Aadhaar card for your business, Udyog Aadhaar. I think you also need a digital Aadhaar card for a business. So
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
that is that vital today.
That's interesting. The other interesting buzzword that you just mentioned is AI, right? Now, there are two aspects of AI which I would like to pick your brain on. The first one is the academic part, the second one is the startup part. On the academic part, I think a lot of students nowadays are using AI for shortcut, right? They are trying to get information from ChatGPT rather than searching for it in libraries or in physical books, or even doing that painstaking research online without using an AI tool. I don't know where that's headed, right? The second aspect which I would like you to touch upon is from a startup perspective. Are you better off being smart enough to know which AI tool to use, or should you be actually doing coding, or should you be creating an AI product yourself as a game changer in a startup? So why don't you reflect on both these points?
Well, AI is I'm a totally non-techie person, but then, um, interestingly, in academics, I would tackle your first part of your
Sure.
question, academics. I recently had the experience of teaching entrepreneurship development through a program of Vadvani Foundation, which is online program with an AI tool, which means I was actually co-teaching it with a AI professor, right? So at first I was really, really worried whether the tool would, outsmart me. Obviously, I mean, I'm not that. But then I found, to my amazement, that I could actually work with it and I could actually deliver much better, and the impact the students felt was much more, because they could actually use the tool, get the answers, and I could correct them, and they felt that both were equally good, and that it definitely alone, AI alone would not have helped them as much as a physical teacher, and the AI put together was a better combination. So I think that was very, very enlightening for me. That I thought I would look at AI as my competitor. What would I do? What can I teach what AI can't, right? But then I found that, to my amazement, really it helps. So now I'm an ardent fan of AI in teaching. Yes, I agree, students use it, and I think still they require a lot which only a human can do. So yes, there's a lot of potential in academics for AI, and for the teachers with all their experience to help. The second part of the question, I don't think a startup has to make a product in AI to become big. I think they should know how to be smart enough to use the AI, maybe to generate leads, maybe to make themselves more visible, maybe to have a great conversation with their customers, go in for deeper customization, go for more precision marketing. Well, I think that's where they should use all these tools, and not say that I will create an AI tool to be successful, right? They should learn to use. Of course, there are some of these guys who are really good, and who are really technical, and they can go in for this. But if your strength is something else, some other technology, learn to use AI. If your strength is you have studied and you're done in AI and you really would like, I think coding and all that stuff, AI will do it itself. So I think some of the higher stuff, building in the architecture, I think that can be done.
Interesting. Considering the kind of startups that you engage, the kind of domain that you have dabbled with, especially focusing on women entrepreneurs, could you highlight what are the potential areas or market segments where you think women entrepreneurs have a great opportunity, considering the landscape that you're aware of?
Well, for a woman, of course, whether you're a man or a woman, the world is your market now, with the internet really bringing it down, and a lot of e-commerce. So I think I would really look at e-commerce as a big start, and just not face-to-face selling, but using e-commerce tools to sell. I think that is the biggest marketing trend that we need to look at. And we also need to look, with the help of AI, we are able to create a lot of experiential uh, ads, etc. I think they should move a lot into content marketing, because I think that will help. Today, it's no longer 1 or 2 minutes. The longer the content, the more elaborate you are. That's where it's going on. And I would also like to see some of the newer things that are coming up, like, changing the voice, changing the language, according to whichever place it goes. I think, according to, an advertisement in the tune of a favorite song of mine, which is only my favorite song, right? Which the AI can guess and actually play that advertisement. So there are a whole lot of newer and newer innovative things that are coming up to startle your customer to looking at you, right? Otherwise, you are not the purple cow, as he says.
Yeah.
So to be that, to stand out, I think you need to employ a lot of these digital, newer and newer digital trends that are coming up, advertisements. I think those are the areas that especially women entrepreneurs can really make use of this. And today we have a lot of the, it's not that you need to know it, you can outsource it. Today, a lot of these youngsters, interns itself are doing a lot of these, a lot in this communication degree and all are very happy to help you with. So I keep
Hmm.
telling them that you should make use of all these young crowd interns who are very eager. They have more fresher and creative ideas than veterans. So
Hmm.
that is my advice to women entrepreneurs. Use a lot of youngsters and get into the digital marketing scene and work on that.
Hmm.
And of
When it
course,
comes,
learn to
yeah,
use AI. Yeah.
yeah. When it comes to women entrepreneurs, a big challenge which is thrown up, and many times women are not able to get full hog into entrepreneurship is work-life balance, right? You would have challenged or you would have encountered the work-life balance yourself multiple times in your career. You would have seen many entrepreneurs overcome that big time. So, what are your thoughts on that? How can women do enough justice to their personal responsibilities at home and yet, excel in entrepreneurship, not just dabble in it?
I perfectly agree. For a woman, a work life balance is one of the biggest challenges. But I think the biggest support for a woman is her family. When the family supports you, I think the work life balance really evens out. So,
Mhm.
lucky me, I had a whole lot of support from my husband and my family. And therefore, I was able to move through. Once I moved from academics from 2011, I started my own company, and definitely it's been very gratifying for the support I've got. And also the ability to be a master of my own time because I've worked and the 9 to 5 grind I've been through. So
Mhm.
when I was in entrepreneurship, I had my own hassles, but then time was in my hands. And so I could juggle. And I think that's great for working entrepreneurial women is that
Mhm.
time is at your command. And so you can learn how to, go for your mother-in-law's doctor appointment and arrange your meeting in a different time. And the boon is, of course, online, man. You don't have to go anywhere. And I
Yeah.
think those are the things, the way we can use and leverage. I think that helps in the work-life
Mm.
balance.
Got it.
Yes,
Got it.
definitely.
Makes sense. Finally, I think going by your experience and expertise, I have a few rapid fire questions, if you may allow me to.
Okay.
One startup that you admire, one Indian startup that you admire,
KTM.
one global startup that you are very fond of.
Groupon.
Interesting. One founder that you feel has a very impressive journey, Indian.
Um, that ID, okay, Mr. Mustafa.
Oh, very interesting. One global founder that you admire.
Of course, Elon Musk.
I knew that before you gave the answer. I knew that word was coming. Any interesting movie that you think is a great watch for entrepreneurs from an inspiration perspective?
Mm, Band Baja Bharat, right?
Very
That on that
interesting.
event management.
My
Yeah.
favorite is Rocket Singh.
Ah, that's also good. Yeah.
Any interesting book or
Yeah,
books that
I
you would
think
recommend?
I've been very much impressed with one book that really changed my thinking, and that is Who Moved My Cheese by Johnson Spencer.
Oh, yeah,
It's a
I read
small
that in
book,
school.
but I think so. Yeah, I mean, it still stays with me, right? And I keep
Yeah,
quoting it
yeah,
all the time. Of course,
yeah,
Blue
yeah,
Ocean
yeah.
Strategy. Traction by Weinberg is another very good book that I really like.
Interesting. Okay, okay, got it, got it. That's a new one for me, so I'll add that to my reading list for sure.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you very much, Dr. Radhika. It's been a privilege. We try to keep it short and sweet, but it's still exceeded by almost by 30 minutes now. So, thank you very much. And again, it's a pleasure and privilege to have you on board as a mentor. And I'm sure that when the current and potential incubatees listen to this podcast, they'll have a much wider and much deeper understanding of your breadth and expertise, and probably they'll reach out and probably you'll be able to make an influence on many more entrepreneurs even in the future. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much for this opportunity, and thank you for taking me down the nostalgic trip of my life. And thank you for clarifying
Thank
a
you.
whole lot of work. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much.